Have you ever wondered what forges a legend? Is it victory? Is it power? Or is it something deeper, something born from the very ashes of defeat? Today, we journey back to the 13th century, to a time of chaos and invasion, to uncover the story of a man whose name became a symbol of a nation's unbreakable will. Tran Quoc Tuan. The year is 1258. The mighty Mongol Empire, the most formidable military force the world had ever seen, has swept across Asia. Now, their sights are set on Jiviat. The royal court is in turmoil. The army is outnumbered, and a shadow of fear falls over the land. In the face of this overwhelming threat, many councils surrender. To fight seems like madness, a suicidal stand against an unstoppable tide. But one man refused to bow. From a young age, Tran Quoc Tuan was no ordinary prince. He devoured military texts, not for glory, but for the sacred duty of protecting his homeland. He saw the strength of his people not just in their spears and swords, but in their spirit, in their connection to the very soil they tilled. His father, on his deathbed, had planted a seed of ambition, a whisper of a dynastic rivalry. But Tran Quoc Tuan looked beyond personal gain. He saw a bigger picture, a greater threat that united them all. As the Mongol hordes poured across the border, the initial resistance faltered. The capital, Thang fell. The king and the royal court were forced to flee, a devastating blow to the nation's morale. It was in this darkest hour, retreating into the dense forests and mountains, that the true character of our hero was revealed. Imagine this, a small group, huddled by a campfire at dusk, the weight of a fallen kingdom on their shoulders. The air is thick with despair. It's here, amidst the crackling flames and the whispers of a sorrowful wind, that we find Tran Quoc Tuan. He's not just a general who lost a battle. He's a man grieving for his people. He scoops up a handful of earth, feeling the grit, the lifeblood of his nation, run through his fingers. In that moment, something shifted. It wasn't just about strategy or tactics anymore. It was about a promise made to the land, to his ancestors, and to every man, woman, and child who called Jiviat home. He whispers to the dying embers, a vow forged in fire and grief. We will rise again. This wasn't empty rhetoric. It was the birth of a new strategy, one rooted in the very soul of the people. Tran Quoc Tuan understood that he couldn't defeat the Mongols in a conventional, pitched battle. They were masters of that game. So, he changed the rules. He looked to the land itself as his greatest ally. The winding rivers, the dense jungles, the unpredictable tides, these would be his weapons. His strategy was simple, yet brilliant. Clear gardens, empty houses. Deny the enemy resources. Let them march into an empty land, where the heat, the jungle, and disease would become their true opponents. He rallied the people, not as a distant prince, but as a brother in arms. His famous proclamation, the Huchtang Essis, wasn't just an order. It was a heartfelt plea that stirred the soul of every soldier. He spoke of honor, of duty, and the shame of living under a foreign yoke. He asked them, would you rather find pleasure in a cockfight, or would you rise to etch your name into the annals of history? The effect was electric. Soldiers, once on the brink of despair, were filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Some even tattooed the words STTHT, death to the Mongols, on their arms, a permanent declaration of their defiance. The tide began to turn. Using guerrilla tactics, the Vietnamese forces harassed the Mongol supply lines, launching swift, surprising attacks before melting back into the jungle. The vast Mongol army, stretched thin and starving, began to lose its edge. Their frustration grew. They were an army built for conquest on open plains, not for a war of shadows in an unforgiving land. The retreat of the Mongols in 1258 was not a decisive military victory for Jiviat in the traditional sense, but it was a monumental psychological triumph. They had faced the monster and survived. They had proven that the Mongols were not invincible. But the beast would return. The Mongol Empire, under the ambitious Kublai Khan, would not let such an affront go unanswered. They came back, twice more, each time with greater numbers and a burning desire for revenge. And each time, Tran Quoc Tuan was there to meet them. He wasn't just a general anymore. He was the embodiment of Vietnamese resistance. The climax of this epic struggle came in 1288, at the besieged Jiang River. This was the masterstroke, the culmination of all his learning, his strategy, and his unwavering faith in his people. Knowing the Mongols' naval fleet would have to pass through this river, he devised a plan of pure genius, one that had been used centuries before but was now perfected. He ordered his men to plant massive, iron-tipped wooden stakes, hidden just beneath the water's surface at low tide. Then, he sent a small flotilla to lure the Mongol fleet into his trap. As the tide began to rise, the Vietnamese boats, small and nimble, engaged the larger, more cumbersome Mongol war junks. The Mongol commander, confident in his superior numbers, pursued them deep into the river. Then, just as Tran Quoc Tuan had calculated, the tide turned. The Vietnamese forces turned to fight, as a larger force waiting in ambush emerged from the banks. As the Mongol fleet tried to retreat, they found themselves caught. The receding water exposed the deadly stakes, which ripped through the hulls of their ships, impaling them. Trapped, burning, and under attack from all sides, the mighty Mongol navy was annihilated. The Battle of Bchjang was more than a victory. It was a legend brought to life. It was a testament to how intelligence, unity, and a deep understanding of one's homeland could triumph over brute force. Tran Quoc Tuan had not only saved his nation 3 times, but he had also created a military doctrine that would be studied for centuries. He showed that the strength of a people is not measured by the size of their army, but by the depth of their resolve. Even in his final years, his wisdom shone brightly. When asked by the king for the secret to keeping the nation safe, his advice was simple yet profound. The strength of the nation lies in the people. Ease the burden of the people, and you will have their support. That is the best and most lasting strategy. He understood that a nation's foundation is not its king or its army, but its citizens. The story of Tran Quoc Tuan is a powerful reminder that true leadership isn't about dominance, but about inspiration. It's about uniting people for a cause greater than themselves. His legacy is not just in the battles he won, but in the enduring spirit of resilience he instilled in his people, a spirit that echoes to this day. Thank you so much for joining us on this historical journey. If you were inspired by the story of this legendary hero, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more tales of incredible figures from history. Let us know in the comments what other historical stories you'd like to see. Until next time, stay curious.